Hello, good evening everyone. Hello, let's cook together again. Waiting for you all to join in. Hello Namita, hello Shruti, hello the heroine, hi. So we are back. This is the 8th episode of our Plate Up with Jiva series. Are you ready to cook something exciting in 15 minutes, healthy and super quick? Well, we are really excited. So, with the rains back, we thought it would be best to do a cozy meal recipe. And the immense love that you all have shown to our cooked red rice from the Jiva farm to table, we thought it best to use this. What do you think? Okay, so let's make this super creamy and quick risotto. Quick being the key here. Alright, and before I start, I want to tell you all that you can post in your questions while I'm cooking. I'll be taking up all your questions at the end of the live. So just watch along and send me your questions. Alright. Okay, let's get started. Okay. So I'm going to put the pan to heat. The first thing we are going to add in here is the butter. So let's add about 4 tablespoons of butter here. This is a classic Italian, which I'm not cooking the traditional way. I'll tell you soon why. So just about 4 tablespoons of butter goes in there. So we let the butter brown a little bit. That will give it that extra flavor profile. Just move it around and we'll keep stirring it so that it doesn't burn, but it will slowly start to brown. So we are going to be using our cooked red rice. That's why I said we are not doing the traditional method of cooking a risotto, but a quick one. So instead of cooking the rice like the arborio in wine and stock, we are using our cooked red rice, which is obviously ready to use. So it makes our cooking a little bit faster. Yes, the butter has melted. Let it brown a little bit. So you can use, you can start cooking with the melted butter also, but I'm browning it because, like I said, it adds a little flavor profile, little added profile to the risotto. Okay. It's starting to brown in the center, so I'm going to keep swirling it because otherwise it's going to just burn from one side. Okay, almost browned. Takes about 30 seconds or so. You can also use olive oil here. I like to cook the risotto in butter, but olive oil works just as fine. Some people even do a mix of butter and oil. I wonder why, but a lot of people cook with a mix of butter and oil. Yeah, so the butter has started to brown. This is when I'm going to add in some onions. These are finely chopped onions. And some garlic. If you guys saw the last live, you would remember that I was talking about the mirepoix, the celery, garlic and carrot mixture. Here I have omitted the carrots and I have added onions. So this forms the base to season the pan. Alright, let's just saute them for a minute. Meanwhile, we'll prep the next ingredient. So finely chopped celery, onion and garlic gone in, and we let it cook. I'm using some shiitake mushrooms which I've washed and I've removed the stem. So like the button mushroom, we can use the stem or use it in stock, but here the stem is too tough and not really nice to taste. So I'm using the shiitake and the button mushrooms both. I'm going to just finely slice it. So we'll use about, say, half a cup of mushrooms. So once the onion and celery is just cooked for a little bit, then take the heat up a little and we are going to add in our sliced mushrooms. So the first thing, when you are working with mushrooms have a very high moisture content. So whenever you're using mushrooms in anything, you either cook them separately so that their entire moisture is evaporated, or then they should be the first to go into the pan when you are making pasta or when you are making a risotto. Otherwise they are going to leave all the water and then the dish is going to get all watered down. So the idea is to first, cook them and brown them a little bit before we add in everything else. Okay. So they will start to leave the water now. It's very important that we don't add salt at this time. Okay, very, very important, and it's a very important kitchen tip also that I'm giving you for today. Don't salt the mushrooms when you're cooking them, because of course they contain a lot of moisture, like I said. Now if you salt them right now, if you add any bit of salt right now, they are going to leave that much more moisture and they are going to become very chewy and gummy, and that's not the right texture that you want for the mushroom. So we'll wait till they have browned a little bit, till they have kind of roasted, and then we are going to add in our salt and then we are going to season it post that. Okay, so while the mushrooms are cooking, I'm going to just prep our next ingredient. I'm using some asparagus here and we are going to slice the asparagus diagonally. That's the way I like to cut it. You can cut them straight as well. But just that little effort of going a little diagonal with your cut, it just looks that much more pretty, right? So go ahead and slice them diagonally. So a lot of people like to also blanch the asparagus before using them. I like the nutty taste and the crunch of the asparagus stem. So I've just removed the bottom 1-2 inches of the stem, and then I'm slicing them without blanching. I'm just going to quickly cook them to retain that crunch. I just feel blanching kind of overcooks and sometimes just almost murders the taste of the vegetable. So avoid doing that, please. So a little bit of trivia about asparagus. Do you know that it's one of the most nutritionally balanced vegetables? So asparagus is high in folic acid, and it is very, very low in calorie. So there we can go a little extra loaded on the asparagus. Once the mushroom starts to brown, we are just going to add the sliced asparagus to the pan. Looks like it could take a stem more, so I'm just going to slice another one. Lovely. I'm going to save some bit of this mushroom and asparagus for my garnish. You can leave it as well. You can leave it in the pan. I'm just going to save some bit of it. So just take out some in a bowl. I feel that the garnish looks really nice with these mushrooms, and shiitake mushrooms by themselves have such good flavor. Great. Now the asparagus stems have softened just a tad bit. I'm going to add in some all-purpose flour, about 2 tablespoons. You can also use wheat flour here. So just about 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and then we are going to mix and cook till the time it is toasted. You'll start to smell the toasty flour, and that's when we'll add the next ingredient. So we'll let this cook, and we'll keep stirring it in between. Okay, while this is cooking, what you should ideally do is warm up the milk that we are going to make the sauce with. That is what will avoid the lumps. A lot of times when people try to make any kind of white sauce, then there are usually lumps in the sauce. The reason is that the flour that we've added is already toasted. It's very, very hot, and then the milk is probably at a room temperature or it is cold. So then when we add not warm milk to the pan, then it tends to form lumps. So to avoid that, we'll warm up the milk. And the other thing very important is that I always like to add a little bit of vegetable stock before I put in the milk. That is another way to avoid the lumps. So always make a note of these things, even when you're using using this base to make white sauce for your pasta. So these tips really work very well. Just a little bit more. Now we can just season it with some bit of salt, and I'm adding some thyme as well. You can use mixed herbs, you can use a mix of 1 or 2 herbs, but I like my risotto to usually just have 1 herb. Even if you're using fresh oregano, it's fine. You're using rosemary, it's fine. But best to stick to 1 herb, especially for a risotto. I don't like to mix too many herbs. Okay, the flour smells nice and toasted, and my milk here in the jug is also slightly warm, and so is the vegetable stock. So I'm going to add the vegetable stock first. Like I said, it will help you to avoid lumps in the sauce. So just add some veg stock first. Mix it well. And then add the warm milk. Then switch to a whisk, so that even if there are any slight lumps, the whisk will take care of that. And keep mixing on low heat till everything combines. So using the whisk will just take care of these small tiny lumps that might still have formed. Okay, let's just keep mixing this. Once everything has come together, then we are going to take up the heat a little bit. Perfect. So you can mix, any kind of different mushrooms. You can use portobello, you can use oyster mushrooms, all you can even do just a mixed mushroom risotto with the same recipe. You can add other vegetables as well. And the other very interesting recipe, you can alter this with is, instead of the cooked red rice, you can also use a cooked barley. Barley makes really good risotto, so try this same recipe with a cooked barley as well. It's amazing. So now this sauce has begun to thicken a little bit. Here's when I'm going to slowly add in some fresh cream. You can omit the cream totally, but I just feel that it adds to a little nice texture. So add it slowly so that it doesn't split, and keep whisking it while you're adding the cream. If you want to make a vegan version, what do? For a vegan version, you can use coconut milk to make the recipe. Instead of milk, you can also use coconut milk. So when you are adding coconut milk, you don't need to use the cream. I feel that the coconut milk is creamy enough. So there, I mean, you can just do a vegan recipe as well. Lovely. Next to go in is going to be our Parmesan cheese. So I'm adding about, say, 2 to 3 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese. I'm going to save some for the end to garnish. So if you're following the recipe, just use half the recipe, half the quantity of the Parmesan, and the remaining half we are going to top it with. So just about 2 to 3 tablespoons. More the merrier. Again, for a vegan version, you can use vegan cheese. You can use cashew cheese also. Super. Smells really divine just after I put the Parmesan cheese. So I'm whisking it so that it stays nice and smooth all throughout. Great. It's time to add our star ingredient, the red rice, the cooked red rice from Jiva Farm to Table. It's available in Bombay on Thrive. So I hope you guys have picked it up already. If not, then go ahead and order your portion. I'm adding about a cup here. Give it a good mix. So red rice is an excellent source of fiber, also of iron, and it also works in lowering inflammation and cholesterol in the body. So it's a really healthy alternative to white rice. So if you're a rice lover, go ahead and shift to red rice. Also, another interesting thing is that it just has 1% fat for every 100 gram of serving. So that's an added advantage. Okay. So this is ready. Let's plate it up. So with all the tips that I've given you, can you see that it's a very nice and luscious sauce? It's not lumpy at all. So let's plate it up. If you like it thicker, you can let it cook a little bit longer. This is the consistency that I like the risotto at. Super. I'm going to garnish it with the mushrooms and asparagus, the tossed ones that I had saved earlier. You can also add a lovely drizzle of chili oil or even pesto oil with this recipe. And the last to go in are these beautiful colored microgreens. Nutritionally, of course, they are packed and they give the right color to top any kind of dish. Lovely. So this looks like deliciously amazing. So the crunch from the asparagus, the umami from the mushroom, totally top of the line and super simple to make, isn't it? All right. So please try the recipe and tag Plate Up with Jiva. We'll be very happy to feature you on our page. And now it's question answer time. Sikku Shalini looks exotic. I'm sure it tastes divine too. Yes, yes, absolutely. It's amazing. One of our favorite recipes here at the kitchen. Suchitra, tempting. Thank you. Heroine looks delicious. Oh yes, thank you so much. Shalini, yum. Rakesh, hi. Thank you everyone. Okay, is there any question? Wonderful. You're most welcome, Shalini. She says, thank you for the tips. They always works. The slicing of mushrooms was so effortlessly smooth. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot for the love. Okay. Okay. So there aren't any questions. Guys, you should please give us questions. Okay, is there a question? Okay, yes, please try it and tag Plate Up with Jiva. We'll feature you on our page. We would love it. And you can shop on Thrive for these products. We also have the cooked barley, we have cooked quinoa, we have the cooked tricolor quinoa, and of course the red rice as well. So you can shop right now only in Bombay on Thrive and soon on Zomato and Swiggy too. And I will see you again next week with another exciting recipe. You guys stay tuned and keep sharing the love. Have a good evening. Lovely. Bye-bye.